Today we're going to be showing you how we do a Boston butt for some pulled pork. First thing we're going to do is score the fat cap. I like to cut diagonally down, making a little diamond shape. All this really does is allow you to get seasoning on more of the meat surface. Also helps the fat render, and it looks pretty cool when it's done too. Also at this time we would be removing anything that's hanging, any pieces of fat, any excess fat, any pieces of meat that are just dangling there. They're not going to cook well. Go ahead and take it off now. So I like to use mustard as a binder. You can use whatever you like. It really doesn't affect the taste. Just want to get it covered well. And what this will do is help the seasoning adhere to the meat and give you a better overall bark and final product. So just slather it on, cover all sides, front, back, side to side. Hit it with the mustard and get ready to rub. You'll see here I find a little piece of meat and fat that's just hanging there. It's not going to cook well. It's better to just take it off. Today we're using Meat Church's Gospel. You can use any barbecue rub. You want to be super liberal with it and cover it completely. It's a big hunk of meat. You want to get as much flavor on the outside as you can. We'll show you some tricks at the end of the video to add a little more flavor. Okay, now that you've let it sweat out, this is what it looks like for us today. It's a really nice color. It's all sweaty and ready for the smoker. Today we'll be using Bear Mountain Chop House blend. I usually use either hickory or a hickory and oak blend for my pork. It's going to be a long cook, so you're going to want to go ahead and make sure your hopper's completely full. I'm also going to be using a smoke tube today. If you're not familiar with these, they're basically just a metal tube that you fill with more pellets and light it on fire and let it burn to add more smoke to your cook. Not necessary, but something I like to do and find that it definitely gives you that little kick of smoke flavor that is sometimes missing with the pellet grill. And then also it's kind of fun to do, and who doesn't like fire? I mean, isn't that why we do this to begin with? Something else I like to do is add a water pan just under the rack. We're going to put the butt directly on top of that. I find that it adds a little moisture to your smoker and helps keep the meat moist during the cook. I'm going to set the Traeger to 250 super smoke. I'm going to let it run overnight while I sleep, and may check it in the middle of the night or may check it around 7 in the morning. I'm putting the butt on around 9 o'clock at night. Should be fine. I'll have my probe in, monitoring it. Alright, let's place that tube right beside where we're going to be putting our Boston butt over the water pan. I'm going to be cooking fat cap up today. That's what I normally do when I score the fat cap. You do you. I mean, I know people like to argue about the right way and the wrong way of doing this. Honestly, I don't notice a difference either way. So this is what we're doing today. And the star of the channel is sure interested in what's going on in this Traeger. Let's take a look. Here we are about 3 hours in. I decided to check on it just before I went to sleep. Decided I needed to spritz it. I may be spritzing it in the middle of the night, or I may sleep through. Just going to kind of play it by ear. Either way, I'm sure it'll be fine. I did get up in the middle of the night and check on it just to see if it needed to be spritzed again, and I thought it did. This is probably around 4 o'clock in the morning. This would be optional. You wouldn't have to do this. Boy, she's still waiting. This is the next morning around 8 a.m. She knows it's almost time. Now we're getting ready to wrap it. I'm happy with the color. I like the way it looks. I like the way it feels. When the probe goes in, somewhere around 165, 170. Let's see what we got here. 171 looks like. I'll go ahead and pull it and wrap it. I'm going to bring it inside and add some ingredients to help enhance the flavor and improve the final product. Alright, so what I got here is just some apple cider vinegar and water. That's also what I was spritzing with. I don't think I mentioned that. I'm going to add that. I'm going to add some butter and brown sugar, and then I'm going to cover it with oil, and we're going to put it back on the Traeger. At this point, I crank it up a little bit. I go up to 275 and let it finish out. You can really add just about anything at this stage of the cook. I've seen people use apple juice. I've seen people use beer, Dr. Pepper, cherry Coke. You can get creative, but this is what we went with. Pretty middle of the road stuff, but it turned out delicious. You can experiment and make these recipes your own. It's pretty basic stuff. It's not difficult. It's kind of hard to mess up a pork butt, so certainly don't be intimidated by it. Just want to get that foil nice and tight and sealed up. Then we're back on the Traeger to finish this cook up. At this point, I'm going to remove the water pan. It's done its job. I do like to try to keep it full during the cook when it's unwrapped, but at this point we're done with it, and hopefully you can get it out a little more gracefully than I did, but it's out. Close the lid and smoke away. I usually take my butts to somewhere around 202, 205 degrees. Not really paying too much attention to the temperature, just want to make sure it's tender and the probe goes in easily. I'm going to take it off the grill and throw it in a cooler and let it rest for about an hour and a half, 2 hours. After the rest, I'm happy with the way it looks, and it's ready to be pulled. The bone should slide right out, clean. I was happy with the bark on it and happy with the smoke ring. I do think the smoke tube helps a lot with that. You can get a good smoke ring on a pellet grill, there's no doubt, but adding that extra smoke source does make a difference, at least in my opinion. What you want to do is save the juices from the pan from that final stage of the cook. Put it in a fat separator here. You'll see it here on the left. We're going to pour the liquids back on the meat, mix it in. What this does is obviously adds moisture back to the meat, but it also gives it a good extra layer of flavoring and really makes barbecue sauce optional. I don't think you need it when you do it this way. Just add those juices back in and mix it around, and also at this time it wouldn't hurt to hit it with a little extra dusting of whatever barbecue rub you use. Just adding that flavor. All this is optional, but we find that it helps a lot, and people seem to love it. Almost assuredly get some compliments on it if you serve this to your family and your friends. Give it a try. Let us know how you like it, or maybe you don't like it. Tell us that too. Let us know. We're always up to try new things. This YouTube channel is something new for us. We're having a good time with it. We don't quite know what we're doing with it yet, but if there's anything in particular you'd like for us to cook, let us know. Now for the moment she's been waiting for. Oh yes, she approves. Tell him, Izzy.